Good morning, my friends. It's Teresa Crane with Jeremiah Dreams. How are you guys? We have survived the week. It is Friday, and I am I am so thankful. You know, there's just times in your week, sometimes you think, I'm just not sure if I'm going to make it. And I kind of felt that this week. But I did, and it's Friday, and I'm so glad. So I have just a few minutes. Well, good morning, Winifred. How are you, lady? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. As you join, please say hello. Let me know you're here. And let me see if I can pull everything up on my iPad so that I can be sure and see your comments, because, you know, things get a little wonky sometimes, and we just don't ever know. And, of course, nothing seems to work quite right, but that's all right. We'll figure this out. I've got some eyes joining. Good morning, you guys. How are you? Listen, I've got kind of a cool little craft. So let me just get over here on my business page on my iPad, and nothing seems to cooperate, of course. You have all the things set up, and then it just doesn't come together, and you're like, oh my goodness. Bear with me 1 minute, and we're going to get started. Here we go. And I should be able to see your comments now. Making sure. Yes. I might have it all together. Okay, you guys, here we go. Hey, Joy, how are you? And Tiffany and Angela and all of you guys joining me this morning. Listen, I have been thinking about this craft for a little while. And it's a craft artsy kind of thing. So if you don't know or you're new to me, I'm a painter. But you guys, I have underneath my bag these totes full of old pictures. And I think about all of those frames that are under there that I need to be bringing out and adding some life to them. And so I did that finally. And I found this old 5x7 wood frame. Good morning, Emma and Susan. I am so glad you guys are here. And I decided I want to give some life to this. And so you guys, if you've been watching me recently, you know, good morning, Teresa. You know I'm all into these bright colored flowers right now. It's my hunger for spring and all things blooming, even though it kills my allergies. But at any rate, so what I've got is this frame. It is a wood frame, and it's got a finish on it. So I need to use something that's going to stick to this and not rub off. And you can sand it a little bit to get that finish off, and then just use some paint. Or what I've got here is a small jar of Behr Premium Plus, and it's a color sample, and it's stain blocking paint and primer in one. I've had this for a while, and I'll pull it out and I'll use it for different things from time to time. And so I'm wanting this frame to be white anyway. And I've already taken the backing and the glass out, and I'm just going to set them here to the side before I show you what we're going to do. So let me just put some of this on here real quick. And with this being a primer and paint all in one, I feel like it should be pretty good about adhering to even this finish. And if for some reason I see some changes in that, what I can always do is distress it, and it will be just fine. It'll look chippy, and it'll just be awesome no matter what. So I'm just going to throw some of this paint on here, and then I'm ready to get to the really fun part that I want to, because we all know how to paint frames and all. But I didn't want to have this done ahead and skip this step, because I wanted you to see where I was starting from. So that was the main thing. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad. Yes, please. If you enjoy what you're seeing, give me some hearts. Hit that heart emoji, and paint the blessings. That's what I like to say. Tell your friends by painting the blessings. And that is amazing, because I love to be creative. And I'm hoping that there's some new people on here I haven't met before, and maybe some old friends too. But I'm just glad you're here. All right, let's see. We're almost done. I'm being sure to get the sides, because I want those to be white also. And then we're going to just set this to the side and let it be dry while we do the other things. So, and be sure, if you do this at home, be sure you get the inside of the frame. Y'all, I'm probably going to have paint all over me, and my nail lady's going to say next week, what have you been doing? All right, so finding a way to hold this could be a little bit tricksy. So let me grab, just so I don't get it all over me, I'm just going to grab a paper towel real quick just to help me hold somewhere along this frame so I can get this last little corner. And I don't want to take off everything I've done, but I've just got to get this last edge, and then I can set it to the side. Because y'all, and I'll show y'all why I'm so into these bright colored flowers. So while I'm finishing this, I'll tell you, and some of you who've been following me know the story. So my daughter is very, very pregnant with her second child. And last weekend they came home, and I had a little baby sprinkle here at my house for them, because it's baby number 2, and typically don't do a full-fledged shower for baby number 2. But I had these napkins for the shower that I have just fallen in love with the colors. And all right, I'm going to set this frame to the side. Let me just set it right here. And the little prongs that are sticking out in the back are going to help that stand up and not touch the table. So that'll be good. And so let me show you the napkin. So here's the napkin. Look at those colors with that navy background and those bright colors. In fact, I've done a couple of crafts with the napkins and just love them. So what I want to do with this piece is, now that I've got this frame drying over here, and let me put this brush into my soapy water area here so that it won't get all gunky on me. And I'm going to take that little paper plate palette off. Now I'm going to set this little cardboard piece aside. And now comes the fun stuff. So I'm going to use fuchsia, and I'm going to put some of that on my palette. And y'all, I'm going to paint on the glass of this frame to make a piece of art. So I've got my glass. I cleaned it. I cleaned that frame, I should say, also, so that it would be nice and clean for our project today. I want to use, this is called Bright Salmon. Look at that color. Y'all, these colors, when they all come together, oh, it just makes my heart happy. And I want to use, it's actually called Bright Yellow. And I'll show you my palette once I get all this squeezed out. Come on. There we go. Oh, it mixed in, but that's okay. I can work with it. What else do I want? I think that's probably good for right now. That's a good start. So let me get my brush where we're going to start with this pretty pink color. Now, I'm going to hold this kind of right here so maybe you can see a little bit better. So here's, and y'all, when I squeezed out my yellow, it got kind of a bubble in it, and it just kind of went everywhere. But that's the paint palette. I can work around that, so that's not a big deal. So I'm going to start with this bright pink, and I'm just going to paint right on this glass. Now, I'll just be honest, when you start painting on glass, it's going to take more than one coat. So I don't want you to think that this is a one coat little thing and you're going to be all done. It's not. It's going to take a couple. So I've just kind of made the outline of my flower, and I'm going to fill this in. I'm just really kind of tapping it in more than brushing it in, especially for this first coat. I've just found that when you're dealing with surfaces like this, it's just a little bit easier, and plus it gives it kind of a texture that's cool. So, all right, I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, and I'm going to go on to my next flower. So let me clean my brush off. And I've got 2 jars of water here. I've got one that's got some dishwashing soap in it that'll kind of be a cleaning agent. And then I've got my other one that's more of a rinse. Let me see how we're doing on time. I want to be sure and keep that in focus because I don't want to get into the other crafters time. Y'all, Craft Around the Clock is just awesome. It is full of some very talented ladies that just come up with some amazing ideas. I'm always just dumbfounded by, like, how did they think of that? And they're just so talented. I'm so blessed to be able to be a part of them. And so this second flower, I'm kind of placing it in behind this pink one, okay? And I'm giving it a different shape. And I'm even going to go into that bottom area. And I'm just going to touch in some of those little areas because I don't, sometimes brushing on a surface like this where the paint is not absorbing into your surface, it doesn't work as well. You're better off just kind of tapping in. Okay, so there's that color. I need a soft pink, and I had one out earlier. And there it is. I knew it was nearby. This is actually called Vivid Pink, and I'm going to add some of this in here, and then we're going to add some yellow. And I want to show you too before we get too far along. I need to set my watch where I can kind of watch my time. What I've got in mind for the back of it that's just going to make it really come together. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Goodness. So what I did was I took the back out of this frame and made me a template for navy. So what my plan is when I put all this back together, look, isn't that pretty? It's like going to be almost dimensional sitting on that navy background inside the frame. But the paint is all happening on the outside. Okay, so let's get some of this lighter pink going. Get that, my brush all wiped off. And I'm going to do a little bit smaller flower through here. Let's see, I reference this napkin often to see kind of how things are shaped. And I'm just going to tap that in. I'm going to add a couple since they're smaller and kind of set one to the side like that. Okay. Now, and if you're liking this, give me some hearts. Let me know if you're enjoying this. Let me set this over to the other side. Get my brush rinsed off real good. And we'll change colors. Get it dried so I don't get it too thin. Oh, I forgot one more color. I need to use, this is called Dolphin. It's a very, very soft blue. And I want to add that. I'm going to have to get me some more of this Dolphin. It is such a pretty, it's kind of a blue-gray color. But I want to add some of these in. And I'm loving this color. So I'm going to make these just more circular. And I'm going to group them as well. And I'm going to tuck one right in behind that pink. Just like so. And these are just going to kind of frame in everything. And I'm not going to go too overboard with these. Okay. All right, y'all. We're ready to go back and add our second coat. So I'm going to pick up this bright pink. I'm just going to tap it in. And when you're dealing with glass, like the other day, I painted on a Dollar Tree plate. And when you're dealing with glass, it just takes several layers and patience. It has to dry well between layers. And another secret is to do thin layers. You know, don't put too much paint on your surface. Because, number one, that's just going to make it take longer to dry. So that's why I'm kind of going thin with these coats. And honestly, I kind of like these textures that the paint is leaving behind just from where my brush is touching in there. All right, now I'm going to change colors. Need to get some more of this salmon out. Because where my yellow went kind of crazy, it is kind of absorbing all that salmon. So we're coming along, y'all. It just takes a little bit of patience. Still have too much water in my brush. And that's another thing. Sometimes you want water in your brush if you're painting on a canvas. Oh, thank you all. Thank you all so much. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for painting the blessings and giving me hearts. Y'all are just so amazing. So if you haven't, if you see something you love, hit that heart emoji. And I hope to give you a little bit of inspiration this morning. But, you know, I always am looking for some things that I have around the house where I don't necessarily have to go out and buy stuff to make stuff. I love being able to find things in my home that just need a fresh start with what they've got going on already. All right, I'm going to go back over the yellow. I'm going to tap that in. And once this base coat gets really good and dry, I will be able to go back and add detail that's really going to make these stand out. But again, it's just going to take a little bit of time. So this may not get completed this morning, and I will have to finish it and post the finished product later. All right, I'm going to go back and add one more coat of this blue. Then I want to go on and add some green stems and leaves in there. Good morning, Yolanda and Terry and Cheryl and Alice. I'm so glad y'all are here. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to put this on a little bit thick right here for these smaller flowers. Honestly, I know it's going to take a little longer for that to dry because it's just going against kind of what I said a while ago. However, what I'm looking for on these is some texture. And since they're smaller, I'm going to be okay with them taking longer to dry. I have been loving watching other pieces of art that have that good lift of paint and that really have that neat dimensional appearance. So let me tuck this in behind this pink flower. So when you're painting or art stuff, it's not a quick thing. It is a patience thing. However, let me say this. It is a very relaxing thing to me because I can take my time and it's mine. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. Okay, I have this color called, I don't want the leaf green. I'm looking for my spring green. It's a beautiful shade. This is it right here. Spring green. I love this color. So I want to add in some leaves. And listen, you can do all kinds of things with these old frames and glasses. Maybe it's covering it with a napkin or covering it with fabric or embellishing it with other things. You don't have to necessarily do this. But I'm going to tap in some stems through here just to kind of give me some placement. And I want them kind of going different directions. But this green is going to give it a really nice backdrop. Whoops, I hit that. Got some green paint on my corner, so let me wipe that off because I don't want that there. It's going to give it some nice, like anchoring kinds of things. Let me show you what I've got so far. Look how this is coming along. But this has to dry really well, okay? And before I can really get in there and start adding some good detail of dimension and shadow and all the things that really make art come to life, I need to get my base coats good and dry. So I'm just tapping in this paint even with the green stems. And I'm going to bring it on down, and I'm going to add some leaves, and I'm tapping. Whoops, I hit the edge again. I'll wipe it off. Now this green is probably because of pigment, is probably going to dry just a little bit faster. And I'm going to add just some leaves randomly up through here. Let's see, where does it make sense? Probably there should be a leaf like right through there. Need some leaves under these little yellow flowers. That may be good. So this is what I have so far. Okay? So, let me see how I'm doing on my time. I got about 10 minutes and that's awesome. All right. It looks like this. I wonder, let me try. I don't know if this will work. I'm going to try drying this with my little gun here, my little tool. And if it will, then I can start adding some detail in there. Let me get this excess green that I accidentally hit. It's mainly on the back side, which is good. It's not going to get into my other little area here. Okay, let me see if this will work. And you have to be really careful when you're drying with these tools, these guns like this, because if you stay in one spot too long and the paint gets hot, it'll bubble. And that's one reason why I kind of shake mine and move it a lot, is so that it's drying it, but it's not going to bubble like it might be tempted to do if you just left it in one spot. It is drying, folks. I'm going to go with this because it looks like the paint dried well enough that I can do a little bit of detail on that, but there's some other parts that are not quite dry yet, and that is all right. We're just going to let them sit, but I want to show you kind of what I have in mind. I'm going to use a much smaller, did I just get paint on my face? I hope not. That would be my luck. Okay, so I need a little bit of black. Where is my black? Here it is. And I'm not going to squeeze any out. I'm just going to pick up some out of the cap because I don't need very much at all. Because black is such a deep, dark, rich color. It goes a long way. So I'm going to take this black and I would just want to kind of put some in the center. Like so. I'm just dotting it in. And actually, for this flower up here, it's a poppy. I need some black right through here because I want to add, and you'll see in the finished product that I post later, I'm going to add more petals on the other side of this because it is a poppy. And black is going to be the color that serves as the basis for the other little colors that go on top. All right, so now I want to add, let me get that brushed off really well. There we go. I want to add on top, I'm going to add a little bit of, well, let me get this dry. Hang on. Let's do that. Because if you don't get it dry, they're just going to mix together. The colors will. All right. So, come here, you. Okay, so now I'm going to take this salmon color in the middle of this pink, and I'm just going to dot in some salmon. And this might take more than one layer. But that dark background adds the depth to that. So let me turn this around so you can see. And then I'm going to be adding more depth to make these petals stand out. Let me see if I can make that happen for us real quick. Let me get just a little bit of this black. In fact, I'm just going to take some of this and scoop it onto my palette, because what I want to do is I want to mix a little bit of this black into this hot pink so that I have a good color for shading. But I'm still kind of in my pink family. So I've got kind of a pinky gray going on, and that's what I want. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to add dimension to my petal. Like so. And even go around this little area. Just to add some shadow and contrast. And I'm always thinking about where would shadows sit. And I don't have to worry about this being super realistic, but that's just the way. And I'm actually going to, the lines that I put in, I'm going to kind of pull that paint forward toward the center of the petal a little bit, just so we add more of that shadow and kind of just fade it into the center. Because I don't like harsh lines. If you watch me very often, you'll hear me say that quite often. Trying to get rid of those harsh lines So I'm just pulling this dark gray, this pinky gray, into the middle. And sometimes you can just use just the amount of paint that's right on your brush. You don't even have to pick up new paint. And so this right here that's a little darker, I'm just going to pick up some more of the hot pink and just kind of blend it into it. And painting any type of art is all about the layering. That's where some of your magic is going to happen. So look how this is going to appear once we get all done. See how that darker gray, that pinky gray, gives it dimension? And that's what we're looking for. Then, just in that same thought process, we can take some white. Let me get some of this dried stuff off. We can take some white and do the same thing and highlight some areas. Oops, I got a little bit of, there we go. And highlight, and I'm just actually going to take pure white and I'm just going to tap it in. And I have a lot of water on my brush still, so I'm going to get that off. So I'm just going to tap in some white to create accent. And blend it. And where I want to blend it, I'm just going to add some more of that pink, and it'll kind of just mix right there, right on the glass. And you just got to keep messing with it till you get it where you want it to be. And I'm just trying to remember where my highlights, where my contrasts are, and I'm going to show you. So hang on a second, I'm getting ready to show you. So that's kind of how it looks. You got to kind of keep working with it to get it to the tone you want. So like there's some places where I might want to tone down that white, like right up through here, and not have it so thick and wide. And on this petal, so I'm just adding more pink in that's going to blend that together. I'm just tapping it in. Okay, let me show you, since we're getting close to being out of time. Yep, we've just got 2 or 3 minutes left. So let me show you. Here is the thought process, okay? Look what happens when we put this navy paper, and this is cardstock, navy cardstock in behind that. Let's see how dry our frame is. And let's see, it's still got some wet places. So I'm gonna try to hold it so that you can kind of see. I'm gonna have paint all over me, you guys. Oh my goodness, but that's just the nature of it. Ooh, there's a great big glob. Let me wipe this off, and I'm gonna try to show you kind of how this is gonna look when it all gets dry and it's all detailed, and try not to mess up what I've already done. Here's the trick. Okay, here we go. So that's kind of the gist of how it's going to look when it's all said and done. And I think it's going to be so pretty. What do y'all think? Do you like this? And you guys, it's not hard. It's just tapping. And I would love to help you sometime. But I just think it looks so pretty together. And you can even do things to the frame that will embellish this and kind of coordinate with it too. So it's just something different to try. I want to dig out those old frames and bring them back to life. That's my goal. So thank you all so much. I think we're out of time, but thank you for joining me. I am so glad you're here. I hope that you'll enjoy the other crafters today. And if you have some time, join me over at Jeremiah Dreams, okay? Y'all have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. Y'all be blessed today. Bye.